right, welcome to the Grown Up Show, everyone. We're being a grown up as always up for debate. My name is Danny Barros, alongside my longtime buddy Anthony Hall.
What's up?
Not much, man. All right. Episode 15. Here we go. That's my Matthew McConaughey impression. You like that?
That's pretty good. All right.
Yeah, I saw on social media over this week they had like some Fast Times at Ridgemont High table read with it was
Yeah.
over Zoom with this all-star cast. It was crazy, dude. Shia LaBeouf playing Spicoli stole the show, man.
Dude, but what's great, you know what's great about him is we don't know, and we will never know if that was just like him hardcore method acting or if he was legit just off his rocker. Like you never know, but that's what makes him so unique, you know?
I know. That's why people want to tune in and see what he's up to.
That was I watched the whole thing. I watched like the little like clips of him, and I was like, I gotta watch this whole thing. I gotta make sure like I get it in context, you know?
I know. I stumbled across that. I thought this was genius, and it just made me want them to like do a reboot of the movie and make Shia LaBeouf play Spicoli for real.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be awesome, you know?
Yeah, dude, that dude, he's a good actor. I feel he's a good actor. I know he gets a lot of shit, but
think about it. They made that movie. Oh, he's a great actor. He's a great actor. Yeah. I think he just gets shits because he's a little different. He's had a few of his own issues publicly. Yeah, but at the same time, he's a great dude and he's a great actor. But I think they definitely need to remake this movie. And what better way to do it? Like, it was made originally like 82, I think.
Yeah.
And so in this case, you're making it today. So don't set it in the 70s like it was before. Like, you could set it in the 90s or even do it today.
Yeah.
You know,
90s would actually.
I think doing it in the 90s would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, just because there's so many things. Like, there's so many things about what goes on today that like sometimes they bother me in a comedy movie. Like all the social media references, or the stupid Valley Girl hashtags and this and that you have to hear. It's just like, I just want to go back to a simpler time, when movies are just a little bit, where things are more stereotyped,
Yeah. I feel like a movie made about like high school life today would be 90% just the camera filming people on their phones doing like the selfies.
Just necks down. Just
like the top of their head. It'll be like the most screen time in a movie ever of just the top of people's heads.
Yeah. Yeah, the hair and makeup crew would be getting, a lot of work done.
Yeah.
Just
the hair crew, to be honest. Why even bother with makeup? Yeah. It's a wild world we live in right now.
I know. Let's just, before we get too far down the rabbit hole, let's just have a beer and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Tell me what you got, bro.
So I kind of same path as last week. I went with another break set. I actually got these at the same time. This one's been sitting, but this time it's Pilsner. I mean, yeah, nothing spectacular. It's 5.2%.
You could stop your spiel there and just say it's a Pilsner.
Yeah,
and take a sip.
I like Pilsners though. Like it, they're nice.
I know.
You're the one that you don't like the Pilsners, right?
See, I'll drink a Pilsner before I'll drink a Coors Light,
But Coors Light's not beer.
That's why I would drink a Pilsner first.
Whatever, dude. I'm pouring it in my fancy Hydro Flask cup that I got. I didn't tell the story about this cup. Not only did you get it for me, but you got it for me as a gift for being assistant coach to our T-ball team.
Best damn assistant coach there ever is.
Hey, I appreciate that. I really put a lot of effort into that, and I miss it, dude. I miss that. I think honestly, out of everything, I'm not brown nosing you either. I was thinking about this, talking to Jen about the other day. I think the thing I miss the most about the Bay Area is coaching T-ball with you.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
And it's hard because I don't this. I have like no family. I have my older brother, which we have an interesting relationship, but that's like it. And like, it's the type of relationship that works because we're not together, Yeah. So like, I don't miss that. I mean, outside of my friends, but like things to do, I don't, it got so busy for me that I didn't have fun doing things. That was like the thing that when people ask me like, what do you miss the most about the Bay Area? It's always one of the top things, if not the top thing that pops in my head is like, I miss coaching And I think I miss coaching because I never really wanted to coach. You talked me into it, which was one of the best things you've ever done. But it was
Heck
nice
yeah,
because
man.
like I liked being the assistant coach. I have no interest of being a head coach up here, and I have no interest of being an assistant coach up here. The reason that made it fun for me is because I got to do it with my buddy, someone like I trusted, I could feed off of, and I could talk shit about little kids with. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of, maybe a little bit.
No, it's super fun, and it's been a rough year, obviously, like, I was trying to go down that road and coach again this year without you, but, we didn't even get a game in,
Yeah,
our season got ended before it really even began, and so it was an interesting ride, but, and we're starting to talk about next season and how many unanswered questions there are going in even to next season, so
yeah, it's
see
definitely
how it goes.
a pilsner.
Definitely tastes different than an IPA, huh?
It just doesn't really taste like anything.
Well, yeah, once you drink a few IPAs, you drink a Pilsner, you're like, "Oh, this is beer too?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, jeez, I
It's not
forgot."
bad. I'm not trying to dog it. It's a great brewery. It's a pilsner. Like it's a lighter beer, so
Yeah,
it's hard to
it's
have a.
like it's kinda like you go to a winery and some people like Merlot, other people like Chardonnay, they're
Yeah,
completely different, but they're both wine.
but
Everybody has their own taste,
I
you
feel
know?
like IPAs have like a richer taste. Where this is like the pilsners, it either tastes like dirty water or it's got like a unique bite to it, but it's not like I've never drinking a pils. I like pilsners because it's like kind of like refreshing, like especially like on a hot
Yeah,
day or something. But
right.
I can never think of a time I've drinking a pilsner and I've been like, wow, that's got a great taste to it. You know
Yeah,
what I
the only
mean?
time I've
It's
ever
more
said
of like
that is if
a
I've drank a Trimmer Pils, you know?
it's like the non like a pilsner to me is like the non-athletic Gatorade. You know,
Yeah,
like it's something that you
yeah.
drink it and you're
The
just like
Gatorade
it.
water.
Like you don't drink it to get like an amazing taste. You drink it to like get revitalized, right?
It's like when
So
Gatorade
it's
had to
like the dad
propel, like
Gatorade.
no, like Gator had the Propel water,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
basically like
yeah,
flavored water. It
yeah.
wasn't even like
Exactly.
Gatorade.
Yeah. But this is like I feel like that's perfect. Like a pilsner is like the dad's Gatorade.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, like I'm not drinking it for taste. I'm drinking it because it's like I just need some fucking alcohol.
Yeah. It's the closest
What
thing
about
to
you?
me
What
at
do
the
you
point.
have?
You know me, coming in hot. Um, so just like instead of your glass, I use my Yeti can Colster. I got the little adapter on there for the 16-ounce cans. You know what I mean? That's how we
God.
roll up here.
I've
Yeah.
never heard anyone say that they're what's it called, a beer cozy or koozie, something like that.
It's called a Colster, bro. It's called a
That no,
Colster.
that's a fucking it's a koozie. I think is the your
Koozie
koozie.
is something soft and
You know what?
squishy
I'm
that you
calling it a
like
koozie.
you go around the
You
pool
okay?
with.
Here,
Yeah.
I'll make it
This
nice for
is the
you.
same technology, double walled, vacuum sealed, whatever,
You,
stainless steel, just like your Hydro Flask cup, except it holds a can.
you've got a koozie that has an adapter.
Well, yeah, because when they first now they actually make them 16 ounce, but I've
That's
had this
funny.
thing so long that it was only like for 12-ounce
Oh
cans.
wow, literally screws on there too. Wow.
Yeah, and then so like I bought like the adapter because like most of the cool breweries like only, you know, can in 16-ounce cans. And so rather than having the thing stick out and the top quarter of your beer gets hell warm, which it doesn't, um, it's like, oh, they sell the adapter. Let's get it. Now the adapter's caught on, so now Yeti just makes a 16-ounce one, go figure.
Yeah. Well,
Gotta buy
smart
that
move.
one. But anyway, I'm rolling with, yet again, my favorite local brewery, Hop Dogma Brewing Company. This is the Alpha Dankopotamus. This is their
Oh.
their like flagship IPA that they
Okay.
have. It's like their staple. It is literally in the top 5 of my all-time favorite beers,
That's a good
bar
one. I've
none.
had that one before.
Yeah, it's just super crisp. 6.9% alcohol. And it's like again, it's like the name is so great, but the names that these things have are they're spot on for the flavor that they carry too. Like Alpha Dankopotamus, like it's just a play on like one of the most dankiest, flavorful West Coast IPAs you could imagine. And being the alpha of that,
Hmm.
which to me, if you're in the top 5, you're definitely doing something right, and you're definitely, puffing your chest like an alpha for sure. You know. So, cheers to Hop Dogma.
Cheers.
in your Pilsner. They make a killer Pilsner, by the way. They
that,
won.
That brewery is one of the best there is, dude.
Well, they like they call it the Old Keller Pilsner. It's won some awards, like a Beer Week and stuff like that. Like, and just so people know, and when beers win awards, they win in their categories. Like a Pilsner is going up against other people's Pilsners. It's not, going up against IPAs, because it's like, again, you can't like say, Merlot is better than Chardonnay. They're just in a different class,
It's like going to a barbecue and trying to compare barbecue chicken with steak.
Yeah. They both barbecued, but
completely different.
Exactly. So anyway, man, what do you think of NFL week 2, man?
Very different, very painful. I might have opened my mouth too soon on the Browns, but we'll see. They'll drop again. All right, let's be real. But it was nice to see them.
I'm just happy that open enrollment has finally started, because I mean, there's been so many injuries in the NFL. Like, people are going to be thinking about, their insurance a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah. This was an ugly week for injuries. Our team, I feel like, got hit the worst. Maybe not the worst, but I think definitely our biggest players.
It was significant. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we lost our biggest target on offense.
Yeah,
we didn't have, and then in the game, we lost our arguably two top defensive players,
and our arguably two top running backs as well.
Yep. So, and then our quarterback. So
yeah.
The quarterback is the least of my concerns, because it seems that it's nothing major, and also our backup is
not
also
uncharted territory either.
Yeah,
we've been here before when Jimmy's gone down, and we've had to play a backup, and for the most part, we've seen success.
And I think that's why. And I mean, this game was a perfect example. Like, we still destroyed. I mean, it's the Jets, but the Jets don't have a bad team. They're definitely obviously missing some pieces, but we were still, even with all the injuries, able to keep the flow of the game to get the win, which was good. So, but there are definitely some other injuries across the league that were pretty nasty as well.
Yeah.
I think the top one, or top talk of the town, is obviously Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, what was it like? I think there was like 9 or 10 ACL tears.
Yeah.
League wide, like this weekend. I mean, it was just crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so many people are like, oh, well, they need to have a talk with their strength coach. It's like, well, it's not the strength coach if this many people are having it, across different teams. It's like, I think the reality comes down to, as much as people hate the preseason games or have been hating them, I think they're important just because they, you can't replicate game speed in practice.
Yeah.
You just can't. And you can try to go against people and do some of the things that you would normally do in a game. But that guy across the line from you is also your teammate, so you're not trying to kill him.
Yeah.
As much as you're trying to go hard and prepare yourself, you're not at top speed.
Yeah.
And so you're really not testing that out until you get into a game and that adrenaline's really pumping, everything's going, and you see that battle right in front of you, and now it's time to go all out.
Yeah.
Now you're on a limited snap count in preseason games where starters may only play a quarter and then eventually a half. So your body is easing into that. And here you are, you're thrust into the regular season, and you're going to have to play, because you're a starter, you're going to have to play all 4 quarters. And some people can, but we've seen that. I think that, I don't know if it's just bad luck. Maybe the body's just not holding up the way it used to because it didn't have that lead into the season. But it's just unfortunate. Like, I think Nick Bosa's was really just bad luck. I mean, the way that he buckled and the way his leg was caught, I think that was probably more of the turf than anything.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, a lot of these injuries happened on turf, and it's bringing up the argument about turf and everything too. So
there's no give in the turf, especially when you wear cleats.
Yeah,
and there's nothing more, obviously, more natural to play on than natural grass. and just because the moisture in the ground has the give, when your cleats, dig in, there's a half an inch that they're going to travel in each direction because there's give there. When you play on the carpet, there's no give. And yes, they say you can still wear cleats and whatnot, but the cleats are actually like really bad in that situation. Like you get just as much traction from turf shoes as you would cleats, you know.
Yeah.
But it's hard for people to really, believe that because cleats dig into the ground. You think that you're going to get a better hold and a better push and all that kind of stuff, but it also means that you're going to get a bigger bite on the back end when you don't want it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just wild. Bosa's injury actually was surprising. Like, if you watch the injury, it and I mean, I know it's hard to tell, but I didn't think it looked as gruesome as most of the time you see someone come out with a torn ACL. But I mean, it just, the perfect angle is all it really needs.
Yeah, I originally thought it was more of an ankle injury than the knee,
Yeah.
but it
Well,
was
I
just
looked at it,
it was just enough of a pop, I guess.
yeah, and I looked at it as a meniscus injury just from my experience with it, and the way like the knee really
Yeah.
like kind of compacted for a second there. So, but no, ACL done for the season. Solomon Thomas ACL done for the season. Just
Yeah, Solomon Thomas, I think, was definitely more of either the turf and or not having the preseason games because
yeah,
his almost seemed non-contact in a way where it was just like him
yeah.
firing off and sort of battling. Whereas like we talked about Nick Bosa's, he was kind of getting tackled and like
Mhm.
his leg was kind of mangled in this weird format.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting. It really is, but
I think the challenging thing is with all players, but especially these two, like these are guys that are still at the beginning and end of their careers
yeah,
where it's sometimes we see like it's the best case scenario. They're young, they're healthy, they come back no problem. But we've also seen it with those young guys, they come back and they're never even close to what they used to be. Um,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I mean, that's a big concern with with Thomas as well. But if you're talking like all star players with Bosa and Barkley, because of their status,
mhm.
like and the expectation that was expected from both of them, and what we've seen from both of them in the year that they played, year or two
Yeah, I
years
mean, the
that they
good
played.
news is that they are young and they've got hopefully a long
Yeah.
career in front of them.
And we've seen
Now
a lot of people come back from these and be perfectly fine. Um, I mean, we've
oh,
seen
yeah.
it happen with Arian Foster's one I always like to mention. He came back. Now he came back and was very injury prone after, but he came back still very dominant when he was healthy. I
Oh,
mean
yeah.
the good old Tank Frank Gore. I mean he burned through both of his in college, and the guy is going down, gonna probably go down as top five greatest running backs of all time if you think about it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The
Adrian
fact he's still
Peterson had
going
the
strong.
biggest
Yeah.
comeback
I mean,
from
he was like what, maybe a 20, 30 yards shy of the rushing
yeah.
record when he came back. But Adrian
But his
Peterson's
is
also a freak of nature.
but his was interesting because so everyone usually associates the ACL injury with at least a year out.
Mhm.
Um, and that's the silver lining here for guys like Saquon Barkley and Nick Bosa that this happened in week 2
Yeah.
and even Jimmy Garoppolo largely 2 years ago and it happened in week 3.
Yeah.
Because it's much easier to come back and play week 1 next year rather than doing this in like week 12 or
Yeah.
13 or
Well,
14 or
and I
whatever it
think
is.
that's where if I remember correctly, Adrian Peterson was towards the end of the year, but he was a freak of
Yeah.
nature.
He did it like
Um,
November, December, and yeah, that was the thing that really turned heads because he was ready to go, week 1, and I think he put up like 2,000 yards that season.
yeah. Yeah,
Like he won an MVP, like comeback
I
player, like
know
he
he
was
was
just
very
crazy.
close to the most rushing yards in a season that season when he
Yeah.
came back. I think he was
And
literally
I
like
mean, you
20,
look at
30
him now,
shy.
he's still playing, so that knee's been holding up, so this is obviously an injury that 30 years ago ends careers.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's we're starting to see how common it is,
Mhm.
and modern medicine and surgical repairs have gotten so good that it's just going to take time. But yeah, you can come back and play. You
Yeah.
know. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Solomon Thomas and Nick Bosa, they're in completely different situations. As you remember, Solomon Thomas is on his 5th year option right
Yeah.
now, and So, I
No,
mean,
it's
theoretically, this could
definitely.
be his last year in a Niner uniform, so we may never see him again, but at the same time, it's like we also didn't think we would see him this long the way things were going,
Yeah.
and so maybe there's something that they saw in him that they liked, and maybe they can get him at a very affordable price next year to really help shore up that defensive line
Has
even
it already
more,
been
you know?
5 years? He's been. I thought this was only like his third year.
Yeah, no,
Jeez.
he was one of,
I
Trent
was.
Baalke's draft picks, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So one of his last ones.
Yeah, I
But,
was really excited for him when we drafted him. I was really excited. That's right. He was the year we got what's his face. We traded up and got
Joshua Garnett.
no.
Well, because Joshua Garnett and Solomon Thomas were both from Stanford, both drafted in the first round in the same draft. And Joshua Garnett basically flamed out
Yeah.
after a year and a half.
No,
Yeah.
it was I can't think of his name. Defensive player.
Reuben Foster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was
Um,
Foster. We traded up, got Foster. Um
yeah, no, actually it wasn't the same draft as Garnett. Garnett was the year before with Buckner.
oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Um
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember I was like shocked that we got them both because I was like, it's gonna be one or the other, and then we traded up and we ended up getting them both, and I was like so excited. It was a high risk um
Yeah.
with Foster, but I mean, it is what it is. Um,
Well, no, so that does make him that is John Lynch's first draft class then.
okay,
Solomon Thomas, and so this is his fourth year with us,
okay,
which I don't think they picked up the fifth
so
year option
okay,
before next year.
that
So I
that
think that's
makes
what
more
it is.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
he's on his potential last year. They've already declined the fifth year option. So even if he comes back, he would have to sign a new contract, which could be a
I
1 year deal
hope.
or whatever it is.
I don't know why. I think it's just the personality of Thomas. I hope that he stays. I just think he's
Yeah.
a good character. Of course, we'd love to see more of him on the field. I feel like he has been pretty disappointing for us. What the expectation was, um, but he's not bad. He's definitely worth keeping if we can get him for the right price. I think.
No, I agree
Um,
with you. And here's why I agree with you, because obviously year one he didn't do very well. There was a lot of criticism there.
mhm.
And then he went through the issue with his sister who passed away. She committed suicide. And
Yeah,
so he had a whole nother set of issues to going on that year. And then last year he was supposed to be finally like, okay, the fog has cleared. Like, here we go. We're going to play football. And he had a decent year,
yeah,
and he was building on that this year, building on it so much that Niners traded DeForest Buckner. They
yeah,
draft Javon Kinlaw. Javon Kinlaw is not turning heads like
yeah,
we thought in camp or anything like that. And here you've found Solomon Thomas playing more snaps and ahead of Javon Kinlaw, and so it's like that speaks volumes in and of itself that like here's a guy that you're gonna miss,
yeah,
because he was plugged in there as an important piece when you needed him,
yeah,
you know. So I mean it's tough,
yeah.
but there's no replacing Nick Bosa, obviously. I mean,
Nope.
rookie of the year. I mean, there's just nobody who comes off the ball like Nick Bosa. Probably the only other person who comes close is probably his brother,
Dude,
Um,
this is my fault, dude. It's my fault. I'm
probably.
cursed with Niner jerseys.
You buy it?
I've had the first one doesn't really count, but I've had 4 Niner jerseys my entire life. I've had a Steve Young jersey, but I got that like way after the fact, right? So that one doesn't
Yeah.
count. My second jersey was a Patrick Willis jersey that I bought the year he announced his early retirement.
Uh,
Then I
oh,
bought a Frank Gore jersey the year
right.
his last year as a 49er. Then he, didn't resign.
Yeah.
And then now
That's still a good jersey to have, though.
oh yeah, no. Even the they're all good
Yeah,
jerseys to
even
have.
the
Like
Willis.
none of them
Yeah.
left for, shitty reasons. Not like
Yeah,
my
exactly.
Pablo Sandoval jersey that I threw in the garbage many years ago. And then my most recent one, I went with the debate of Kittle Bosa, which I'm still gonna pick up a Kittle jersey, but I went Bosa, and here we go. It's me, dude.
Yeah, but
The
like,
streak
okay, based on
continues.
your theory, though, it's like, yeah, Patrick Willis didn't retire because he got hurt,
Mm,
you know? I mean,
I
kinda
mean,
did,
kinda. He retired because his turf toe was so bad.
but he also felt like he couldn't give anything more to the game. I mean, he knew
Yeah,
that he could eventually
yeah.
that injury would heal. He just didn't wanna have to, go back and forth,
Still
but,
to
I
this
mean
day, man, it bums me out that he retired. I get it. It was a smart move because he's doing big things down there in Silicon Valley, apparently.
yeah, I
And
mean, he
he's
doesn't need
got
it.
the rest of his life healthy head and all that.
He
But
should I mean, I
damn,
don't know
he
what
had
he should come back as a linebacker coach. I
God, that'd be
mean,
so
he'd be, like,
awesome,
the
man.
best linebacker
I'm
coach in the
telling you,
world,
we've had this. I think we had this conversation in our first episode, but I'm telling you, man, if he played a full career,
Oh,
people would be
yeah.
looking at him like they look at Ray Lewis.
I mean, he'd be, like, probably just retiring, like, right now,
Yeah,
like, maybe, but
yeah. God, he was amazing. He was
and we
so
would've
fun to
had guys
watch.
like Fred Warner, like, learning next to him, and stuff like that,
Yeah,
but
man. Like
what are you
just
gonna do?
yeah, but no, and I don't.
Interesting.
It's just my selfishness. Like I respect any player that retires early because of health and all that. I actually respected it more so in football than any other sport because of all the head injuries we know about and stuff. It's just like get in, get your money, get out healthy. That's a big win. That's a lifelong win. You're set for life.
Well,
You
I mean,
worked 3, 4, or
here's
5 years.
here's
I
my
think
issue with
his
that. Here's my issue with that. I totally agree with you to an extent.
mhm,
Okay, like when Patrick Willis retired early, it's like, yeah, theoretically it was early. He was like 30, 31.
yeah. I
Like
think he had
that's
9
early
years. He played
for like
9
8 or
years.
9 years in the league. Okay, like you still got 8 or 9 solid years.
Mhm.
Okay, Terrell Davis got into the Hall of Fame with 6 years.
Mhm.
Okay, running back for the Denver Broncos back in the 90s, 2000s era. So I mean, I still think he put enough on paper for a Hall of Fame resume. The issue I have with guys like, well, I got in, I got my money, now I'm gonna leave because of the health concerns. It's like that's what really kind of bothered me with remember linebacker Chris Borland, who
Yeah.
played one year with
See,
the
yeah,
Niner and then
that's
got out.
different.
It's
But
like,
the
dude,
thing
you
with
played
Borland
football
though
your
that you
entire life. You
yeah.
played football your entire life, and in college, and your dream was to get to the NFL, and you got to the NFL, and now you're playing your rookie year, and you're a rising star, and suddenly a light bulb goes off that like, oh, I'm gonna have head trauma. I can't play this game anymore. It's like,
Yeah, that's a
dude,
little different.
you understood. I get it if you played 4 or 5 years and those 4 or 5 years were kind of rough, and you don't think you can play 5 more years. I get it.
Yeah.
But dude, you played 1 year, and
Yeah.
you've been playing football, and you've been waiting for this opportunity, you
So
know?
I actually agree with you 100% on that type of scenario because there's more to it. Now let's don't forget he went out the best way he could. He returned his signing bonus, all that stuff. But it still affects the draft position drastically because in a draft, that position you're expecting something out of that player at that position for, at least that first contract,
Yeah,
right? So 4 or 5 years. Okay.
absolutely.
So even though he gave back the money, which was the right thing to do, and it was really, respectful that he did it, it still really stung for, X amount of years after that, where we could have drafted someone else at that position that we would have gotten that first rookie contract out of. So,
Yeah, you
and
got more
that's
bang
where I
for your
do
buck,
agree with you.
essentially.
I'm talking more of like the guys that go through like Andrew Luck's another perfect example. Had those injury struggles and finally was
Exactly,
just
yeah,
like, you know what,
yeah,
not worth it. Not helping out the team, not helping out myself. Made some good money and left. And you know what? They got their money's worth out of him, even with the injuries and
right,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So that's where it's
yeah.
like if you go through that first contract, maybe a second contract, that's when I'm like, okay, I
Yeah, if you're
respect
into
that.
that second contract and maybe you've had a couple injury-riddled seasons and just, your body's just breaking down and it's not bouncing back the way it used to, I
Yeah.
mean, everyone in the world can understand that.
Hmm.
But to get, like, 1 or 2 concussions like Borland had, and
Yeah,
it's
that
just like
was.
just to hang it up, it's like,
I wonder. Do
"Come on,
you
dude, I don't think
remember
we
when
really
he
did that."
was Chris
Huh?
Borland?
Yeah.
I'm just curious when he was drafted. I
I
feel
think
like it was relatively early, but it wasn't like first, second
no,
round.
I think it was like a 4th or 5th round. I think he played for the Jim Tom Sula Niners.
That's enough to make you retire after 1 year. No, I think it was before. I think he retired before
Well,
that
it
year. I think
was
he.
that whole season that Patrick Willis, I think, was out, um, and that Borland was filling in essentially.
Yeah,
and
and he
then
did
and
good.
then
Like he
and
looked
then Patrick Willis
promising, man.
retires, and then shortly thereafter, Borland, I think, retired at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, there was
You
that
know?
whole wave, but I think that was at the end of the Harbaugh era. Like they were all like,
Yeah. I
um,
mean, I know he's trying to go on, like, he's trying to make a career, speaking about, CTE and stuff like that. Um, that's his whole angle now, but it's just like my thing was like, dude, you didn't seem like you were piling on the injuries to where it was
yeah.
being an issue.
So
It's like I feel like you just got scared because you got one,
yeah,
and you
spooked
thought
him.
like, "Oh, this could happen to me if I keep going, so let me walk away now,"
So,
you know?
um, 77th overall. Um,
So it's like 3rd round.
so third round, 13th pick in the third round. So that is a pretty big draft spot to lose to a 1
Yeah,
year. That
absolutely.
that's a big one. I would say
I think it was
after
Wisconsin, right?
five,
Is it Wisconsin that he was drafted from?
uh, where he was from, yeah,
Yeah.
Wisconsin. He played
Yeah, I mean, that's
Wisconsin.
a Big Ten school. I mean, like, you get a middle linebacker from a Big Ten school,
Hmm.
3rd round, um, and he played his ass off that year. Like, he was I don't know if he went to the Pro Bowl or not, but, I mean, like, he was, like we were excited for Chris Borland going into the
Yeah,
next year, especially after losing Patrick
yeah,
Willis,
and that was the big thing and he kind of came out of nowhere in a sense where like
Oh, totally,
he
totally, nobody
played
knew who he was.
way
I
better
didn't even
that
know we
one.
drafted him until he was playing,
Yeah,
like, in the 3rd week of the
exactly.
season, you know?
Yeah. So in the NFL, in the 1 year he played, Defensive Rookie of the Month for November, NFC Defensive Player of the Week, Week 11, and then Pepsi NFL Rookie of the Week. So nothing major, but those are still big things. That's still enough to show the potential
Those are
in
all
1 year.
building blocks that the 49ers thought they were gonna continue to build upon,
Yeah,
for at least 5 more years, and instead,
yeah,
we had to go right out, and I think that's when we drafted Fred Warner or somebody else like that, was because we needed to replace our middle linebackers because 2 of
yeah,
them just fucking retired,
yeah.
you
And
know?
that's where in your what you're explaining, it hurts on a bigger scale than outside of him returning the money and everything, which I do want to stress. It's a big deal. It's something not required to do. It is signing money. It's in your bank account. It's a done deal. Just shows the type of person he is, which he was a good dude to
Yeah.
return that money, which was good, and that definitely helped us. But third round pick, that's a big one. I would say
Yeah,
anything after the
that's
fifth round, I'd
solid.
be like, you know what, chuck it up as a
Hey
loss. But
hey,
we've
George
gotten
Kittle's a
every
5th round pick, you know?
yeah, but that's why I said after the fifth round. But still, like Tom Brady was what, 6th round? So it's
199 overall.
yeah. So it just I feel like
Yeah.
you kind of have an obligation in that situation where you got to at least tough it out through that first contract. Me
Well, I
personally,
mean I
you know,
mean, technically, you don't have an obligation, like, you can walk away anytime you want,
yeah,
especially for health reasons, but it's just
not
it
obligation like
seems
I feel like
more
it's a responsibility.
yeah, I mean, it seems more understandable someone like Patrick Willis's case where you're a typical season for a perennial Pro Bowler would have gone into their mid-30s,
Yeah.
you know?
And I mean,
And then
and
you
Willis, like
retiring
he
at
gave
30 was like a shock, but
yeah,
we
and
understand it because you've dealt with injuries and you just feel like you can't overcome anymore, so we understand it.
yeah.
You have a guy for 1 year play great. Yeah, you dealt with couple stingers, but that's because you're a middle linebacker. You telling me that never
Yeah.
happened in college? That never happened in high school? It's like
Yeah, and
maybe
that's what's
maybe you've been
interesting.
adding them up in your head from then till now, but at the same time, like, didn't you want to have more than just a cup of coffee in the NFL? Didn't you want to like have some prime rib at the same time?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
his college stats. So he has 5 years here. But it looks
Of
like in
college,
2010, yeah.
he probably redshirted 1 year.
Yeah, well, it looks like he has very low stats in 2010, so I don't know if maybe he got it. I could probably read through this and find out, but maybe a injury or something. But in 2009 and then 11, 12 and 13, pretty decent stats. I mean they're not decent, but they're pretty average. Like I think that was what made him such a surprise is I mean 2009 just off sacks alone. Well, here I'll just go through all 5 years. 5 sacks, 1 sack, which was that off year in 2010, 2.5, 4.5, 4. So his college totals was only 17 sacks, 5
Yeah,
interceptions.
it must have been an injury, and it was early enough in the season that they could probably gray shirt him or something because you only get 4 years of eligibility,
Yeah, I mean, I
and
could
so you
probably
don't
find out.
you
I'm
don't
not
get
gonna
to
read through
play
all this
5
shit though.
years.
Oh wait, here we go. Borland played and started 2 games. He was injured in the second game of his season and missed the rest of the year with a shoulder injury. He was granted an injury red shirt for that
Yeah,
season. Okay, so that
yeah,
explains 2010.
yep.
Um, so yeah, I mean, but he didn't look spectacular, but he played enough games to where it's not
He put a
like you
solid
said.
body of work
Yeah,
together, and
like
he
it's
played for a Big
enough.
Ten school, so,
Yep.
you know, yeah,
So
it translates to the NFL,
yeah.
certainly, you know? Well, and when the Niners drafted him, they didn't draft him to be their starting middle linebacker.
No, but
They drafted him for depth, and he had to become their starting middle linebacker,
yeah, and I think
you
that's
know?
it, and that's part of the thing that made it sting is he filled a role that no one was expecting him to fill, and he filled it spectacularly
Oh,
that first year.
it was one of those draft picks that you, like, you get
It
jacked
was a
on
thank
because
God
you're
moment.
just like, "Oh, wow, we really hit on
Yeah,
this guy. We weren't really expecting him to do that, but now look what we got," you
yeah,
know?
no, it was a total like oh thank God moment, where it's like God,
Yeah,
we lost our
yeah.
legendary middle linebacker. Damn, this dude actually looking like we got him for a steal and is going to be pretty solid, and then poof,
No,
nope, never mind.
know. I know,
So
it's tough. It's
yeah,
really tough, man.
um,
But
yeah,
but yeah, a lot of injuries going around, man, and it's funny you say that about the curse of the jerseys because I recently bought, my boys each a jersey. Now, um, so I want obviously there are 2 people that may or may not be injured right now because that brought up the conversation, but I was just wondering, I wanted to ask you. So it's funny, they each picked a different player and I bought the jersey.
okay,
But I feel like the jersey that they each picked is very, very reflective of their each one of their personalities. Like
okay,
the jersey Ryan picked, I feel like is really like it's a lot like Ryan, and the jersey that Zach picked, I feel like it's very reflective of his personality. So I'm asking you, what jersey do you think each of my boys got?
I don't know the answer to this, but I see Ryan as kind of like the chill, laid back, kind of cool kid. So I'm going Jimmy G for Ryan.
Ding, 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 ding.
And then Zach is kind of the crazy, wild, funky one, which I'd have to say is Kittle.
Yep.
Did I nail it?
Nailed it,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. And it's funny because like I didn't really put that together until after I already purchased them, but I'm like, wow, this couldn't have worked out any better
Yeah.
because like Ryan's much more quiet, and
Yeah.
like he'll kind of sit back and like observe people before he like makes his move, and he's always, like you said, he's always making sure he's looking good, he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy, right? Jimmy's let other people talk first, and I'll just walk by and act cool. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then
He does it
and
really
then
well
George
too.
Kittle, George Kittle's usually just like the life of the party, right? Like the
Yeah.
loudest guy in the room, always bringing the energy, like. He's probably pissing some people off,
Hmm.
just that's just the way things go. And that's Zach, dude. He's just a freaking tornado wherever he
Yeah.
goes. You know?
Yeah. That's funny. I'm surprised I got that. I mean, it
Yeah.
makes total sense though. That's so funny.
And I did buy them for them before the game last week. Ryan had his jersey show up, so he was wearing his during the game. And then the Kittle one showed up later this week, so Zach hasn't got to wear it. So it's like technically we got the Kittle jersey after he got hurt,
Yeah.
and the Jimmy G one though before he got hurt. So if your theory's
Yeah.
true,
See, I'm not now you got me
yeah,
thinking because I wonder if it's maybe not because I have the jersey, but because I actually didn't wear it on game day. The morning games are hard to sit and watch, so I like have it on a couple TVs throughout the house as I'm going through and doing laundry and all the crazy stuff. So I just forgot to put it on. So maybe it's because I wasn't wearing it. Oh,
are
man.
you superstitious about like your like what you wear for game day and stuff like that?
No,
At
I'm
home?
just joking around. I am like so not superstitious. I'm like fake superstitious where if I want something really, really bad, then I'll, Like I remember our first World Series win in 2010. I was watching it from the couch. I was freaking out, and I had like I pulled like the blanket over my head, and I forget, it was so long ago, but we scored something. But I was like sitting there like freaking out under the blanket, right? And I was getting
Yeah.
really hot, and I took the blanket off, and my wife was like, "You no, put that back on." So I'm like, "Oh my god, you're right," you know. So it's like, because when I want
Yeah,
something
yeah.
really bad, I'll go with it.
Right, yeah. Playoffs are a little different
But
story,
yeah,
but
but like I'll walk under a ladder. You know, I'll
oh,
step on a
yeah,
crack. Like I'm
I'm not
not like
talking about that kinda
crazy.
superstition. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
but
always about the lucky shirt of the hat or
no,
this,
but
that.
yeah, but I'll very much like, if something I want go in a certain way, I'll try not to change whatever I'm doing.
See, I love, like, wearing the T-shirt of, like, the game I'm about to watch, you
Yeah.
know, or like like, I used to come home from work and like, "Oh, we got a Warrior game tonight." Like, take a shower, throw my Warrior shirt on, you know, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
And then same thing with the Giants. "Oh, I'm gonna watch the Giants game tonight, throw a Giants shirt on," you know, this, that. It's like, and then the Niner game comes on the weekend, and it's like, so a couple years ago, I bought, like, a Niners shirt at the beginning of the year, and then I wore it, and then, like, it became, like, the shirt that I had to wear every game that year.
Yeah.
And then last year, I bought, like, another new shirt, and I wore that shirt, like, every game, you know, all year. And I didn't buy a new shirt this year, and I
And our team's
wore
falling apart. So this is
I
your
know, I
fault.
wore no,
Oh,
listen,
thank God.
listen, I wore last year's shirt on week 1, and we, you know, we lost the Arizona Cardinals. So that's when I went to the NFL shop and bought a new shirt and, like, the kids, like, their jerseys and stuff like that. So I wore my new shirt for the game too, you know, last week, and we won. So it's like I got my
So
new shirt. I gotta
so
wear my
we
new shirt now.
we just got to find the balance between you, your shirt, and your kids and your jerseys to where we can win games but not get the injuries. So
Exactly, man.
there's some equation there that we have to figure out before this week.
I know, and I got the, like, the red, like, Shanahan unicorn hat that's, like, a little tiny
Nice.
SF on it.
Yeah.
But then he's not even wearing that this year. Like, he's changed to a gray hat, like, he's all gray.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he's trying to make, like, a BLM statement or something with the gray, like,
I'm
he's
sure.
just
Well, yeah,
trying to,
because
like
it has that on the side. He has the
yeah,
some. I think it's
yeah.
Black Lives Matter. Yeah, something like that supporting it on the side of the hat. I
But
saw, which is
I love that all red hat. It's so
yeah,
sick.
it's a nice hat. You just reminded
So
me. Maybe we touch on this just real quick, but the coaches and the masks,
oh, yeah.
dude,
$1.7 million in fines.
bro,
I
those
think
are
the
some
league is
big
trying to recoup
fines.
some of
I I took a
their
double look at the number.
losses.
Like we have to remember, most coaches, you know, they make decent money, but
Oh, yeah.
you know, $100,000 is different compared to Shanahan than Aaron Rodgers. You know,
Yeah, but at the
so
same time, I mean, if the Niners are gonna stand by their coach, they'll just pick this one up, you know?
oh yeah, I'm sure he's not
And then
paying for
instead
it.
of the Niners being fined 3 or 250, they'll just pay the league 350 and take care of Shanahan's for him.
Yeah,
I mean, the issue I have with this, it's like, on the one hand, I understand what the league's trying to do. They're trying to be like, "Hey, we have an image to uphold. We need to do this for public perception. I really don't care what you think if you've been tested how many times or whatever else, you need to do this."
yeah,
Which I could agree with that. But at the same time, they're not in a bubble like the NBA, but they operate within their own bubbles, and
yeah.
they're all tested religiously on a daily basis when they come in,
Well,
you know,
the
all that
thing
kind
that
of crap.
makes it shit is the players aren't wearing masks. Like that's what kind
Right.
of makes it shit. I do respect and I appreciate the effort, but it's real. Like you just said it. It's what makes it bullshit is it's not because of COVID. It's because of the image because of COVID, and that's
Right.
where the problem is because. And I get like I'm not expecting a player to wear a mask. Like that's brutal.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
huffing and puffing. They already have a
Well, I
helmet
even
on.
see, like, the baseball players wearing masks, and I'm like, "Really?" Like,
Yeah.
you're in the same boat, like, you're all getting tested every day, and it's
Yeah.
like, we know if somebody's positive, because then you won't play the game, like, how many
Yeah.
games got postponed because
Yeah.
of the positive test, so we don't even need to wear a mask because we already know everybody here is negative,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's my beef with it is I feel like it's kind of has to be an all or nothing type scenario. Um, but I mean, like they say, rules are rules.
I mean, I just, like, I honestly feel like they're either going to change the rule or alter it, because I think enough people are going to come back and exactly point out that that testing scenario to the league and just be like, yo, you're testing all of us. Like, I can understand it if it's a stadium crew guy who's cleaning up after so and so, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, he should be wearing a mask because I doubt he's getting tested like the rest of us are.
Mhm.
But all the coaching staff, we're around each other 24/7, and we're probably not wearing our masks when we're not on TV because we're all getting tested all the time. So really, what the hell is the big deal? We're just gonna like wear the masks for pomp and circumstance, like just so that you can feel good about your message, like on Sundays, which is all well and good. But at the same time, nobody is more at risk because Kyle Shanahan didn't wear his mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the bottom line.
Yeah. It's just
And
not
so
a
that's where the
big
league has
number
to
for
kind
it
of just
too.
be like, okay, we made a statement for the public, but like this is week 2. This is going to continue to happen,
Mhm.
you know, over and over and over. So what are you going to do? Just like, is this how you're going to recoup all your losses that you got this year? Is just continue to
Take it from
fine all the coaches?
your coaches and teams.
You know,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Um,
Ridiculous.
yeah, it was just fascinating seeing that number. I was just kind of surprised. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like you're onto something though, with the teams picking it, because all the coaches that got fined, they were questioned about it, and they were all just kind of like, oh, whatever. Like you could tell that, especially like, did you see Gruden?
yeah.
Gruden like was just like, yeah, I'm sensitive to it, blah, blah, blah. But then he was like, all right, thanks guys, and like, was it like, I just feel like if you're getting fined $100,000 or something, like you'd be pretty pissed off about it. And I feel like none of
Well,
them, they were all just kind of
The
like, eh,
Gruden situation is unique because there was a report that came out that like Gruden had COVID.
yeah,
And then a couple like Sean Payton had COVID. He's
yeah,
another one that got fined for it. And so it's like, on the one hand, these are guys who dealt with the virus and had to be quarantined and like, you know, they firsthand got it, beat it, whatever. So you would think that they would advocate a little bit more for the mask and be like, yo, let's like, I
yeah,
got it. It's a real thing. Like, let's make sure we're wearing our masks, you
yeah,
know? But at the same time, it's like they also have to be thinking as somebody who got it that, oh, even though like I know I got it, I'm in a safe environment because I can see all the testing that's going around, and so wouldn't be standing in front of me right now if he had a negative test.
yeah,
You know? And so that's
yeah,
the thing that they have to realize. It's like it's not just black and white. Like yeah, you're dealing essentially in individual team bubbles,
yeah,
you know, and people need to recognize that.
yeah,
You know, it's not, and half these places there's no fans in the stands, so it's like we're not putting the public at risk by not wearing a mask, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Very true. You just made me think of something real stupid, by the way.
What?
Was saying the no fans in the stands. I feel I'm a little disappointed that I haven't seen a humorous Lambo leap yet. I feel like there's an opportunity for a really funny,
Totally.
just empty
Totally, man.
Lambo leap. Like, where's it at? Are they not scoring touchdowns? Are they not that entertaining on their
I
team
think it
right
would
now?
have been even better, like, since the Raiders just opened, like, their brand new stadium,
Yeah,
it would have been, like, really good for, like, somebody who scored a touchdown to, like, looking for the black hole. Like, where's the black hole?
yeah,
Like, because they haven't really established one
yeah,
yet at their new their
yeah,
new stadium, so it's like, "Oh, I don't even know where to go," like, run and jump to the where's the black hole, you
yeah.
know?
That's good. Oh man. Yeah, this whole season already, we're only 2 weeks in, and it's unique, but it still feels good to have it back. It's weird not
Oh, it
seeing the
still
fans,
feels like
but
football, which is
yeah,
good,
and I
you
was gonna
know?
mention that I feel like football feels more like football than baseball feels like like baseball is just weird to me, dude. It's weird to watch it.
Yeah.
It looks like a giant practice game. Where football, I still am feeling. I think it's like I never realized, but like the angle of the cameras in football, you don't
You
see the
never see the
fans
crowd
as
anyway. Yeah.
often as you hear them, and they're filling
Right.
your speakers with the fake fan noise. They're doing it a little better than baseball did at the start. But in baseball, you constantly see the fans, and I think that's what's making it weird for me. Is it's just like,
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, every pitch you're used to seeing whoever's sitting behind home plate, and now
yeah,
you just see the same cardboard cutouts every game,
yeah,
you
it's
know?
so weird, dude. It's so weird. I get
Yeah.
it. I made fun of the cardboard cutouts at the start, but after I read and did some research on some of them, I can respect it. But the ones that they're charging people, like we talked about before, some fans are being charged, and then the celebrities that pop up, they're not being charged. Like that's kind of bullshit. But
Oh yeah,
I
for
appreciate
sure.
the effort to an extent. Um,
No,
yeah,
I
so I
know.
just realized that I was thinking about that when I was watching the games this last week. I was like, oh shit, I never realized that the angle of the camera is so focused on the field, like you don't really see the stands that much during majority, like the snaps and things like that.
No, and I'm sure they're trying to make a conscious effort to not show it too,
Yeah, yeah,
as
but
much as possible.
yeah, but it's
'Cause
made it.
I feel
It's
like it's
made it.
that that suspended camera that, like, would go, like,
Yeah,
behind. Like, that's one where you really get, like, a
yeah,
good
yeah.
shot of the
I haven't
stadium.
seen that
They're
at
not
all.
showing that a lot
Yeah,
at all,
I haven't seen
you
it
know?
at all this year. I'm not saying it's not going. I just personally haven't seen it.
Yeah. Or it's
Um,
like when they kick a field goal, that's when you really see how empty it is,
yeah,
'cause, like, there's
yeah.
really nowhere
That was
you
when
can't really show the field goal being kicked without it, you
yeah,
know?
that was when me and Jen were joking about like I forget who we were watching, but the seats were blue, and we were
Mhm.
like, "What do you think's more distracting to the kicker? A bunch of fans like waving and throwing their
Yeah.
hands up and stuff, or just kicking into like a giant blue mass? Like
I don't know.
it's just so weird. It was weird to
I
see.
tell you what, though, uh, I think I know the game that you were talking about. Harrison Butker has no problem whether there's people in the stands or not. I mean, did you see the end of the Chargers game and
Yeah,
the Chiefs game? It's like, so first of all, he he kicks one from, what was it, like 52 yards or something like that?
yeah,
But then there was a penalty. He made it, but then there was a penalty, so they had to go back to, like, 5 more yards. So it was like 57 or 58 yards.
yeah,
Um, he kicks it, but the other team called a timeout to ice him.
yeah,
It's good. So he has to kick it a third time from 58 yards.
yeah,
Makes it again.
yeah.
Dude,
The dude's got a boot, man.
dude,
He's got
like
a boot.
I mean, if you don't have enough confidence after that
Yeah.
to nail any kick, like,
Well, he was so chill
I don't
about
know.
it too. Like that was what was I was laughing when I was watching that because they were making fun of it about ESPN. And it's like, oh, 50 plus yards all day. What you got
Yeah.
next? You want
Well, and he
ice
cleared
again?
the bar with, like 3 or 4 yards to spare,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, very
Each
clean. Those
kick
are big
cleared it
kicks.
with, like, some yardage. It's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
It's almost like a golfer just, like, taking out your little gap wedge from, like, 75 yards out, and just like, "I'm just gonna loft this up and just plop it, like, 3 feet from the pin," you know? Like, "No worries." "Oh,
Yeah,
oh, you mean I should go from 85 yards instead of 70? Sure, no problem. We'll just use
yeah.
the same
Go
freaking
ahead.
club. I'll
Yeah.
just choke up a little bit," you know?
I just wonder like what's going on in his head when that's happening. Like, oh, they iced me good because I made that one, but I think I could totally make it look
Yeah,
cleaner.
yeah, yeah, were you thinking
I'm
like, "I can do
excited. Like,
that
do you think
even
he's
better?"
excited about it? He looked like in his face, he looked like he was like, oh, cool, I get to do this again.
I think he probably even knew he was gonna get iced, so he's like, "Okay, the first kick's gonna be a practice kick,
Yeah,
doesn't matter," you know?
yeah. 58-yard practice kick, no big deal. Right down the middle. Boom.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But speaking of that Charger and, Kansas City game, it's interesting to see Justin Herbert out there, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was, I mean,
Yeah.
my understanding, Tyrod Taylor didn't have any serious injuries, a couple
No, he got a
sore
mysterious
ribs.
chest injury, like, in pre-games,
Yeah.
which, now could keep him out a second week, and then the report surfaced, today that John Travolta might have made an appearance and it was practicing for Pulp Fiction 2 or something like that, and, like,
Yeah, all of a
tried to
sudden
revive him after an OD or something like that. Was that right?
magical lung puncture injury, huh?
Yeah. It's
So
like, what kind of doctor is gonna puncture your lung as they're trying to just administer, like, a
I'll tell you this.
pain-killing agent,
I'll tell you
you
this.
know?
The type of doctor that's probably not the team doctor anymore. So
Yeah, it's definitely not the type of
that's
doctor I wanna stick a
crazy.
needle in my chest, like, come on.
The NFL is, I think, the home of the weirdest stories in sports.
Oh, yeah.
And this just right up there, like when that article came out and I came across it, I was just like, that's a new one. Yep,
I mean,
that's a new one.
I thought it was particularly interesting to listen to. I think his name's Anthony Lynn, the Chargers head coach.
Mm.
Uh, like his reaction was just like, "Oh yeah, the doc made a mistake. It's okay. It's all good." It's
Well,
like
like
that's a
I was
pretty good,
thinking
like you
about
could have
it.
killed him first of all. Like
Well,
it's
yeah. So I was
a pretty
thinking,
big mistake.
like, they're injecting him with some kind of pain medication for his cracked ribs.
Yeah.
So, like, where are you doing this? How
So why
deep are
is he
you
even
going?
playing with cracked ribs?
Yeah, well, yeah, to start it all, but it's
Yeah.
like, I'm just like, where are you injecting this guy? Why are you going so deep that you have the possibility of hitting a lung? And
Yeah.
like, is this like, what happens if this medication gets in the lung?
I mean, I just
Like,
feel so bad for Tyrod Taylor who
well, yeah, and that's like, dude, this could
basically
be,
feels like he had to play through cracked ribs because look what's happening. Like you
yeah,
didn't play because
dude,
something else happened.
and
If you
that's
just
the
sat out with the
thing.
cracked ribs, you would have lost your job anyway. Because you're basically losing your job
Yeah, and that's the
again.
thing. If this guy, if
You know?
Herbert, if they start Herbert over Tyrod and he takes the job, that will be the ultimate like
Well, he looked
quarterback
better.
got effed.
Yeah, he looked better. Well, I mean, it's like it happened in Buffalo. I mean, like he had some injuries there, and eventually, he was moved on from because of it.
Yeah.
And then
But just the
it's
fact
it's
that like
happening
this is
again. So
because of someone else's
yeah,
mistake is why
it's
he's
not even
gonna
like an on-field
probably,
injury.
yeah. And the
Yeah,
kid looked good. I mean, it was one game. You know, it's always like that with the new quarterback comes in. Majority of the time, they have a pretty decent first game because the other team doesn't have much tape on him.
yeah,
Didn't
no
really
tape.
study for him.
Yeah, they were
But
studying for
I
time.
will argue the fact his throws looked very clean, very, very clean. There was a
No, he's
couple
a
in
he's a
tight
big guy. He's a
spaces.
big quarterback. And I think he's gonna have a good career. I
Yeah,
really do.
I'm very curious to watch him the next couple weeks. I
Yeah.
passed on him on my waiver claims in fantasy this week just because I have some other holes to fill, but I'm probably gonna watch him the rest of the year and regret that. But
Well, I mean, it's still uncertain. You're not sure if he's gonna play just this week,
yeah.
and then Tyrod gets
Well,
another
my
chance,
biggest
or is he gonna be the weekly starter going forward?
yeah. Well, my biggest problem, which I should never admit this, you know this, but I should never admit this on something that's gonna live on the internet forever. But many years back, we had our good old friend Tom Brady, who started a season with 3 underwhelming games. And
Yep.
I had Tom Brady on my fantasy team and I traded his ass. And it was the biggest mistake in my fantasy football career because the rest of the year he exploded because everyone talked retirement. It pissed him off. And I'm pretty sure he went on to win the Super Bowl that year.
We
So,
already had a gentleman in our league drop Tom Brady, which I agree with you on is highly premature at this point. Like you
yeah,
tell
well,
me
that shit
you
pissed me
can't
like,
bench the goat for a week before you drop him.
yeah, I
Like
don't.
let's figure
And
this
well,
out.
and why not talk about a trade? I would have traded for him. But here's the
Yeah,
thing with me is like, so this year I have Drew Brees. Spent 2 games, disappointing games. But this time I'm like, you know what? This
it's
is
the
Drew
same thing,
Brees.
dude.
He's
If
just
you
like
want,
Brady.
don't move on. Just bench him if you want to move on, and then
Yeah.
see if
But
he bounces
but
back.
that's what I decided. I was like, you know what? I got to just tough it out a few more games and make sure like, is this
Yeah,
really the end of
yeah.
his career
You
or
need
is this
4 or 5 weeks
it's
to really
just,
evaluate.
yeah. And like we've talked multiple times now. Is this the end of the career or is this no preseason games still
Yeah.
getting,
I
the
think it's a
kinks out?
lot. I think it's a
So,
combination of everything, but it's primarily like, hey, this is the second game we've had, even if
yeah.
it's the second regular
Yeah.
season game. It's
So,
like we need some time to really like get up to speed here and really like. It's kind of like I always go back to like Madison Bumgarner in 2014 when he came in Game 7 of the World Series. Like, you know, like the first 2 batters, you're like, oh, was this really a good idea to bring him in?
yeah.
And then Buster Posey makes a trip to the mound, and you find out later that Bumgarner's like, no, man, I'll be fine. I'm just still getting loose. It's like
Yeah.
it's like it's like he still wasn't warmed up, and it's like these guys just might not be acclimated to the season yet. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And that's why I'm like, I'm just pumping the brakes. I'm not gonna make any drastic moves this early. I'll be fine. I especially, like another one I've been kind of thinking about was oh my god. James White is one that I'm like debating. But here's the thing, like James White didn't play last weekend because his father passed away in a car accident. His mother, last I checked, I don't know what the update is, but she was in critical condition. First
All
off,
right.
before I continue about my fantasy football bullshit, condolences. That is
Yeah,
just
that's rough.
unimaginable. And whatever the outcome, I hope, I speak for you as well, I'm sure, but we hope the
It's
best for
super
his
rough,
mother.
yeah.
And hopefully a healthy recovery. But I was like kind of on the fence with him, and I'm like, but we've seen this before. This dude's gonna come back and have the game of his life. We've
Yep.
seen how football players are in controversy.
Yeah.
Brett Favre, played the night his father passed away. One of like the best games of his career. We've seen it with I think something with Rodgers. I could be wrong, but we've seen it with a few different players. So I'm like,
Well, we saw the only really good game that Marquise Goodwin ever had.
yeah, when he lost it was a kid, right?
Yeah, it was a stillborn, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 These
So, I mean,
players
like, that
tend
to
to,
me, that's literally the only game I remember him doing
yeah,
something good in,
yeah, me too.
you know?
Yeah. The teams that
So,
they tend to
unfortunately.
rally around their players and help raise them by, giving them the ball and stuff. So I'm like, I know that's
Yeah.
extremely
Yeah, I mean,
selfish of me, but
there's just, like, another level of adrenaline,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
going
So
on.
I decided I'm gonna hang on to him, and it's just so hard when you talk fantasy
Happens
talk.
a lot in
It's
baseball
so
too, like, guys hit, like, home runs
yeah,
or something like that too, like,
yeah.
when
Oh, what's
somebody's just having
the dude that died a couple years ago, and
boating
was it D
accident.
Gordon? Was
Yeah,
it D
D.
Gordon
Gordon's
who's
the one that
like
hit the
not
home run, yeah.
known for home runs?
Miami
Hit
Marlins.
a
Yeah,
bomb.
yeah.
Like yeah,
What
so
was his
like
name? Francisco something
yeah,
or
I can't remember, but it was like yeah, it was the boat accident. That's
he
right.
was like a 24-year-old starting pitcher.
Yeah, who had a pretty looked like he was gonna have a strong
Yeah, oh, yeah, he's gonna have a
career.
great career.
And yeah, and then D Gordon's a
And they
scrawny
were
little
close
dude.
too. D.
Yeah,
Gordon and him were
hits a
close, and so, yeah.
freaking bomb. I think he hit two. It might
Well,
be
he was a leadoff guy, first pitch,
yeah. That's okay. That's
he knocked out,
yeah, and it was a
and so
good
that
homer
was
too. It wasn't a
yeah.
just over the fence. Like it was gone the second
Well,
he
and the
connected it.
memorable part about that home run was he basically was bawling like a
Yeah,
baby, like touching all bases,
yeah.
you know?
No, it was
'Cause it was
definitely an
so
emotional
ceremonious
moment.
to him.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it choked me up, and I'm usually not one to get
Mhm.
choked up over other
Mhm.
people's issues. But it was a nice moment to see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
But
No doubt.
I was just gonna say it's so hard. New England, it's a different team this year, and that's why I've been kind of hesitant
Yeah,
and waiting.
expect
But
a change
like
away.
their running backs for years behind Tom Brady have always been so hit or miss. One
But
day this
still,
guy's the
yeah.
starter, the next game this guy's the starter. I mean, you just never know. But James White has been a consistent with the Patriots for a few years now. I figured maybe with the different team design, they may utilize him a little differently. We'll see.
Yeah, it's like they almost use him, like, as, like,
He
a
was like my last round pickup too, I think.
it's like a hybrid slot receiver slash running back half the
Yeah.
time because it's like
And that's the
he lines
challenge.
up as a running back, but he's used in the passing game more than anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing
Yeah.
though, is like sometimes they have those games where they're legit. You're getting like big receiver numbers from a running back.
Yeah.
I used to get that. Those 2 years Deion Lewis was on the Patriots. He had a few
Mhm.
games that he was dropping 30, 35 point fantasy point games,
Yeah.
and he had like 50 running yards, but he had like
Yeah.
pushing 200 passing yards and like 3
Yeah.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's just so their backfield is always like so unpredictable.
They're streaky for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
All right,
Yeah, I'm
I'm done with
excited for week
football.
3. What's that?
I'm over football talk.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for week 3.
I
We'll see
am.
how
I'm
this goes.
excited. I think some pieces are falling into place. We're definitely going to see a lot of interesting things with all the injuries, who fills in for them and stuff. Um,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
but
shoot,
we're
the
starting to
Niners are gonna go
see,
up against Devontae Freeman and the New York
yeah,
Giants.
yeah, that's going to
Um,
be that. I don't, what? I'm not too worried about it. I think we're going to bury him just because if anyone knows Devontae Freeman, it's Kyle Shanahan. So we're going to
well,
know how to play him.
the point is that, um it's funny because, like, in one of my other fantasy leagues, like, guys were joking, like, somebody picked up, Devontae Freeman and was like, "Oh, yeah, here we go," and I'm just like and I chimed in, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, because he's gonna be able to run through the tackles that Saquon Barkley couldn't."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like it's still the Giants.
Yeah.
It's still the same
Yeah.
offensive
Well, that's
line.
why
It's
like
like
I was
the reason he tore his ACL is because he's getting hit 50 times more than he needs to
yeah.
because nobody can freaking block for him. So you think like, oh, he gets hurt, plug in Devontae Freeman, and all of a sudden your season's saved. Like we got somebody who's going to run
Yeah.
200 yards every game. Like hell no.
Well, that's like I was speaking of Deion Lewis, who's on the Giants. I was gonna pick up Deion Lewis, and I was like, nah. I'll just.
Yeah, I mean it's still like
That's
it's
gonna
still
be
just
one
a
of those.
bad team.
Yeah,
You
that's like
know?
I thought as like the minutes were, because I didn't put my waiver wire claims in until like 3 minutes before it was locked. I was like freaking out at the end, like because I just couldn't decide. There were so many options that I wanted. I was like I was leaning towards Deion Lewis, and I was like, if Barkley couldn't do it, Lewis ain't gonna do it. Now Freeman in the picture, they're gonna be sharing the backfield for at least a couple weeks until one of them is fully established, if not the entire season. So it's just gonna be, and that's how it is. Like Freeman's always been on a team where it's a shared backfield. For years, it was Freeman and Coleman.
Well,
Now
even especially when
Lewis
you're
is like
bringing a guy
Coleman.
in right now, like he's not going to be the feature back. Like he's going to
Yeah.
have
So
to
I was
share
just
time.
like, I'd rather go with someone, pick up someone that might have a higher potential of being the number one.
Yeah,
But
I mean, you can like Saquon Barkley in week 1 where he didn't get hurt, he ran for 6 yards. 6.
yeah.
You know, it's like, and here you are, you're supposed to be one of the best running backs in the league, and your offense can only afford you 6 yards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like your work's cut out for you, Devontae Freeman. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah.
You know?
I am excited for this week. I'm excited because there's a couple teams that are normally not too good that are having great starts. The big one for me is the Raiders. The
Yeah.
Raiders are not only 2-0, they are 2 earned wins.
Yep.
Absolutely earned wins. And they were against 2 great teams.
Now I'm happy for Derek Carr because he's actually looking like he's having, the season that we all expected him to have when he was drafted that he hasn't really had yet.
Yeah.
And maybe this is because, we're in, what is this year? Is this year 2 or 3
For his big contract? I think it's his 3rd year.
for Gruden?
Oh, for Gruden, that's 3.
3rd year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because
because I'm
maybe
pretty sure when
maybe he
Gruden
just
came
needs
in,
a little bit of that consistency, you know?
I think when Gruden came in, they locked up Carr. That was one of the first things they did. I think he was involved
Maybe
with
they did
that.
that before.
Maybe it was the year before.
And
It's been a
so
while. They did that when I was still working the city job. So maybe he is in his 4th year of his that big contract. Regardless, it doesn't matter.
I think Gruden's in his 3rd at the most.
Yeah. The big thing is they beat the Panthers and then they beat the Saints. Those are 2 teams that are designed to be, they're above 500. They're going to be above 500 teams at the least, if not playoff teams. And the Raiders, they were the first game was close. I think they won by like 3 or 4 points. But it's just good. I just like seeing the Raiders do good. I mean, I know I'm a Niner fan, but I'm not one of those Niner fans that's like anti. I was always a Bay Area fan. The Niners weren't doing good. I'd want the Raiders to do good. So I always just kind of keep an eye on the Raiders. It's just nice because usually they're just so embarrassingly bad. It's almost to the level of the Browns, sometimes worse.
Yeah.
Nice seeing them have a good start. The Titans is always one that I always I feel like they're always that team that they're just not good enough. They're at 2-0, so I'm eager to see what they can do. The other thing is just our division. I mean, we have 3 of the teams are 2-0, and then we're 1-1. I mean, the first team, our first loss was against the Cardinals, which we talked about that we gave that win away, but still the Cardinals are a great team. It's definitely, I mean, it's the Seahawks. The Seahawks are the team to beat. I know as a Niner fan, I'm supposed to be like anti-Seahawks, which I usually am, but you cannot deny the greatness that Russell Wilson is. The dude is an absolute freaking legend.
He always finds a way,
I honestly, at this point in time in the NFL, where we're getting to the realistic end of Tom Brady's career, and I don't really want to say Rodgers, but Rodgers at the end of his prime, maybe towards the end of his career. I truly believe right now, this very moment, even with Mahomes, even with Oh my God, Baltimore's
Lamar,
what?
Lamar
Yeah,
Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. I think and this is my personal opinion. I think Russell Wilson is the greatest quarterback in the league right now. Is the best all around quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely like I always think it's funny because I always go back to his like I think it's his Instagram handle
Mhm.
where it's Danger Russ, and it's like that's how I think of him every time. Ever since
Yeah.
I've seen that, it's like
Well,
he's
he's so
Danger
freaking.
Russ.
He's such a corny little dude, but that's what
He is,
makes
dude.
him. He's so
But it's
smart,
because he's
man.
so smart.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
exactly.
he understands the moment every time he's in it,
Yeah,
and he always buys himself enough time to do that one extra thing that you didn't think was possible,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
And
I
I mean,
just
going back to our division though too, it's like, I mean, even the Rams,
yeah, the Rams.
like people thought, "Oh, the Rams are falling off." It's like, but the Rams have always had good pieces. Like they had it down here, and maybe they
Yeah,
just had the Super Bowl hangover last year
yeah,
that they had from the year before that we're gonna have this year.
yeah.
That people are gonna think that, oh, we're out, and then we come back
Mhm.
stronger next year. So you never know, man. But I feel like our division is so stacked that I honestly don't think that our division is gonna see many losses until we start playing each other more.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
like I think that I think we each all 4 of our teams can beat any one of us on any given Sunday. So
Yeah,
hopefully we beat up on each other pretty good and the Niners can get some victories over that so we can build some ground in the division,
yeah,
over the next several weeks. But it's not gonna be an easy task and it's definitely gonna be an uphill battle, especially since we're already, a game behind in that department,
yeah, yeah. But
you know?
with our injuries and stuff, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but I'm kind of already not expecting us to win the Super Bowl this year.
No.
At this point, I already am like kind of like let's not suck, but let's try to stay as healthy as possible. Um,
Yeah.
it's just such a rough start with those losses that we have because they're big losses, man. They really are.
Yeah, but I think like if we can get Jimmy back to where he can remain back
Yeah,
and we can get, Raheem Mostert back in a couple weeks, because I don't think that's going to be too long term of an injury.
yeah,
Then I
and
think eventually Kittle too and Debo's supposed to come back like week 4 like I think we could really assess this around week 5 because
yeah,
at that point we should have Samuel back. Kittle should definitely be back. He might even come back this week.
hmm
And then we'll have a little bit more clarity on some of these other running back injuries that are a couple to few weeks out,
yeah,
what those timetables are like. Because as we're starting to get people healthier in week 5, still a lot of season left.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And maybe we get D Ford back at some point in there too. And it's like, so when you think about all of that, we're really down Solomon Thomas and Nick Bosa. And when you think about even that, we're really just down Nick Bosa.
yeah.
And
I
so it's like, yeah, even though he's really tough to replace, I feel like our chances are still good as long as we can score more points than the other team,
yeah,
you know?
I think they need to do. eh, I mean, and I know I'm nobody, but we're playing the Giants. They're already talking about Kittle possibly not playing this week because of concerns of the turf. If they're talking about it now, just sit his ass. Sit
Yeah,
his
I know.
ass. Sit Garoppolo.
Don't take the chance
We
and you
have,
give him another week
yeah,
to
we're
heal,
playing a team that's already pretty obviously not good.
Who lost their starting running back,
Yeah, like
It's like
sit him, get him healthy because the next week is the Eagles and then
yeah,
Dolphins, which are two average teams. But then after that, dude, it is where shit hits the fan. Rams, Patriots, Seahawks, Packers, Saints,
yeah,
Rams, Bills. Like the middle of our season is nasty.
it's
So
tough.
why take the risk
Yeah.
now? Play
Yeah.
them and then have them sit out.
This is a definite, like, sit out game if anyone's banged up,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
I just think sit them, man, sit them. And you know what? If we lose to the Giants, yeah, that sucks. But we come back healthy. We get maybe a win against the Eagles, Dolphins, get that momentum before we go up against the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, well, the issue is if you sit the players out that you should sit out this weekend and you lose, well, you only took a tiny step back
Yeah,
versus playing people that should have sat out and now Now they have to sit out 3 more weeks instead
Yeah.
of coming back the next week. You know,
Yeah.
because then
And
that's
you
a
don't want
major
them
step
sitting out
back.
that middle of our season. We need everyone we got.
Because if we're sitting at 1 and 2 at this point next week instead of 2 and 1,
Yeah.
I mean, our season's still not over. I
Yeah.
mean, we're not in a great position, but our season's still not over. But
Yeah.
if we're 1 and 2 and now Kittle's gonna be out 6 weeks because he re-aggravated something, and so is also gonna be out extended period of time. It's like, well, then what? What the hell did we do that for? Because now we really didn't give ourselves a chance,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, it's tough, man. It's
Yeah.
tough decisions, but I don't know. Maybe we should move on from football. What do you think?
Yeah. We've been talking about it for quite some time.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot to
Let's
talk
change.
about. It was an interesting week, so it's
It is,
justified.
man. I mean, we're just big football fans in
Yeah.
general, and
I
it's
mean,
like,
that's yeah.
we're gonna have something to talk about every week. We can go on, we can dissect this,
Yeah.
12 different ways to Sunday if we want to.
Yeah.
But we don't. So,
I made a big purchase last night. Pulled the trigger. Really excited about it.
what'd you
Bought
get?
7 minor league baseball hats.
Dude,
And
that's
I'm
sick.
pumped. I love the minor league teams. I still have yet to be able to get a couple teams that I want in my size, but the ones I got, I'm pretty excited about. So
Hell yeah.
I'll have some.
They just have, like,
I'm
the
not gonna
best
say who they
mascots
are,
and logos, you
huh?
know? They always have just, like, the best mascots and
They
logos.
do, and that's what I love. And
It's
some
sick.
of their names, like one, I'll say. I don't want to say the ones I got because I'll wear them over the next few weeks. But I want a goddamn Trash Pandas hat. Like Trash
Yeah.
Pandas is just the funniest one to me, dude. It's so fun.
Yeah,
There's a
think about the
legitimate
name,
team out
like
there
the
called
trash
the
can.
Trash Pandas, and
Oh,
the mascot is a panda in a garbage can.
yeah,
Like it's the best, dude. They never have it in my size
I
ever.
know.
But
It's crazy.
yeah, but I'm
Yeah, I
excited for
remember,
those to come.
like, not this past, yeah, 2 years ago, my youngest was in T-ball, and
Yeah,
they switched from, having them have the same sort of jerseys as the older kids of, like, just regular Major League Baseball teams. They switched to the T-ballers doing
yeah,
minor league teams, which was awesome,
yeah.
dude.
It
I mean,
was
we
really
got to see,
awesome.
like, so many cool
Who did you guys
names, and the
have?
kids loved it too because they had way more caricature type logos,
Yeah,
So, like, they had a lake monster, and, we were the River Cats
that's
because
right.
I
The
got to
river.
choose, and, like, so I chose the Giants affiliate, the River Cats, and then there was, like, the lake monsters, the bats,
Yeah,
there was, like, the bulls, there was, like, some race car affiliated something, I don't know, I forget what it was, but, like, there was just some awesome names, you know?
yeah, yeah. So they're just fun. They're really the miners are so creative with their teams.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
I just wanted to share that because I'm excited about it. I know it's completely out of nowhere.
No, dude. Well, I mean, it's not out of nowhere because we're all gonna get to see your cool hats,
Yeah.
so. But I got a random question for you, man. I think we need to bring this segment back, and I think we need to think about some things differently and randomly. And let's do it, man. You ready?
Go for it.
Okay, man. Random question for today, episode 15. You ready?
Yeah.
In this scenario, time travel is possible. Okay. So
Okay.
if you could travel through time, what period would you go to, and where would you go?
God damn. Such a hard question, dude.
It is, man. It is because you think about it, we're in the year 2020, so there's a lot of years that you can go back to,
Oh,
and
really? Is that how
that's
it
only
works?
one direction. So time travel also works in the other direction. You can go in the future into the years that we haven't been
Oh, so
into.
is that an option to go into the future?
I said
I'm
time travel.
oh man. See, I'm weird. Like I mean, I feel like the cliche thing would be to go to the future, get some numbers, bring them back, you know. Get
Some lottery numbers.
yeah, like an almanac.
Get the Powerball number this weekend, babe.
Get an almanac, you know. No.
Yeah.
But I want to be more creative than that. Like to be honest, I think that is my honest answer. Is I would go to the future, get some Powerball numbers when I come back. But my second. This is tough because I love like like as I think our fan base knows, I'm a bit of a history junkie. I love like medieval times. I love like ancient Egypt,
There you go.
but a small part of me really loves the 80s.
Oh, there you go.
I just
You
like
already were there.
yeah, but to go back at like with my knowledge and at my
Did you go
age
back as an
now,
adult in the 80s?
I just love the music, the vibes. I am definitely an 80s child.
Yeah.
Um I think this is a question that any day you ask me this, I'd give you a different answer. So for
Yeah.
today,
It's the 80s.
I'm gonna go 80s. I'm gonna go 80s.
Where would you go though? So yeah, you're in the 80s, but where?
Um, God damn, that's tough. Probably San Francisco. I think San Francisco was the spot to be in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
Just
for sure.
the whole end of the hippie era, but still, the freedom, the Bay Area has always been like, all about, you know, be who you are. So
Yeah.
I think it was really, from my understanding and from being raised by my grandparents, 80s was a good little time frame in the Bay Area. I feel like that's really boring because that's where I'm from and everything, but I can't think of another place that would be fun in the 80s. Probably like New York, but
Maybe like Miami if you were like really into
oh
like,
yeah, that's true. I don't know, dude. I just
partying.
Florida freaks me out, dude. The horror stories that always come out of Florida, man. Always some weird either soap eating psychos or alligators crawling in beds. Like Florida just has problems, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the most misunderstood state for sure.
I think I think they're very understood. They're just weird.
I don't think they understand themselves.
Yeah, I think that's what it
That's
is.
why they're so misunderstood. But
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for that today. Ask me tomorrow, I'll give you another answer.
Okay. You ready for my answer?
I am.
So, I mean, I didn't think about this question like days ago. So it's like, but this question struck me because I've thought about this before. And not so much to where like, oh man, like if somebody asked me this question, I really want to give this answer. It's more or less I find myself at more times saying, oh man, I wish I could go back to this time, or I wish I could do this. Or it's like whether I'm watching something on TV or a movie or whatever else, it's like I always am just I'm really, really drawn to the 1920s. I don't know what it is, but I'm really drawn to the 1920s. I don't know if it's like the Roaring 20s thing or what. I really enjoy wearing a suit and tie, and everybody wore that back then, and top hats. Like if you were going to the grocery store, like there's one way to dress.
Yeah.
It's like you wore a suit every day. I
Yeah.
love that about the 1920s.
Yeah.
It's like part of my whole my issue with things nowadays is like when things were so much more simpler in the 1920s, you didn't have to think about it. Like you didn't have to think, "Oh my god, what am I gonna wear today?" It's like, no, you're wearing a fucking suit today because that's what you wore yesterday. Like it's
What's
the only
business
goddamn thing in your
casual?
closet. It's gonna be a white shirt, black pants, black jacket. Like you know what I mean? Like you
There's
got
none of
one pair
like
of shoes.
there's none of that like what does this place consider business casual? It didn't
Yeah,
exist.
exactly.
There's no such thing as business casual. It was business and business.
Times were simpler. Like your employer at the end of the week on Friday met you at the door and handed you cash, not a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like things were just so simple. There were no fucking iPads. There were no, none of this crap that distracted us. Like people talked around the dinner table because there wasn't anything else to do.
Yeah.
Or maybe you had a family radio, like
yeah.
Like there was just so much more talking and conversing, and people were more respectful to one another. I love the whole speakeasy, atmosphere of like the, the just like the underground pubs and things like that. And it was just much more of a freer time to let loose and be free. And And I feel like that was when America was really turning its page into like, you know, we're
Yeah.
getting out of our stages of living on farms and riding horses and fighting wars into becoming much more urbanized into
Hmm.
different, you know, metropolitan areas, and we're starting to live this much more entertaining lifestyle with live entertainment and speakeasies, like I said, and the automobiles taking off, so that's changing the game. And
Yeah.
I just love the simpler times, man. There's just so much more bullshit nowadays. There's so many more things that you can, you know, find in your way, so to speak. And none of that existed back then. So every
Yeah.
time I watch like a TV show or a movie, or I used to love that show Boardwalk Empire, you know, on HBO, that was like right around this time, like right in this wheelhouse, you
Yeah.
know. And so it's like I've always thought, man, if I had a time machine, I would love to go back for like a week and just live there in the 1920s and just see what this thing was like, you know? Like it just fascinates me, man. But as far as where I would go in the 1920s, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. It's like, you think of all the big major cities, like, yeah, I could go to Chicago or New York or whatever, but it's like, but I'm from here, so I'd wanna see what here looked like in the 1920s. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen it in pictures, but it's like, I wanna be able to be like, because I could be that guy on the corner and be like, "Oh shit, this is where blah 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 is nowadays," and like, "Look at it now." You know, it's like you have those moments where I could be standing at 3rd and King and be like, "You guys are never gonna believe this, but in like 80 years, there's gonna be a freaking baseball stadium right here. I can guarantee it," you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny, dude.
So,
Yeah, I
or
think
like,
that's a big part of it too. Is definitely like you knowing what it looks like now.
yeah,
Just the
it's almost like
fascination of what it looked like
nostalgic
back
when you go
then.
back there, you
Yeah.
know?
The height, definitely the height where like, the
Yeah.
biggest building was probably like what, maybe 15, 20 stories.
Right, right.
Um yeah, that's a good time frame, dude. I think that would be
Yeah.
fun to see. I
Like,
could definitely.
maybe they were painting, like, the 3rd coat of the Golden Gate Bridge at that time, like, not, like, the 300th, you know,
Yeah.
the way it is now,
Yeah, that
but
original coat.
yeah.
A good one.
What's the do you know the color of the Golden Gate Bridge?
Like the actual paint color?
Yeah,
Oh man,
it's a big test for you.
I fucking do, but I'm not gonna think
I
of it.
know it. I'm gonna sound so smart right now.
What is it? It's something like obvious, I think.
It's international orange,
Okay. It's not what I was thinking.
which is really weird. 'Cause I first of all, I didn't know there was a color named international orange until I learned this.
Yeah.
So, it's like, okay. They were just trying to they were trying to, I guess, pick something that internationally people used as a bright color. Well, I don't think anyone fucking uses this except for us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of
So,
funny that it's like international.
they
Like,
want it to be a bright, obviously, for ships, planes, all that kinda stuff, but it's not that bright. Just it just looks
yeah.
red, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's
So,
definitely not orange, that's for sure.
yeah. Like
It's like,
every painting or collage, it's always painted red, you know?
yeah.
So, it's interesting. Oh, man.
I'm trying to think
But
if I have a question for you.
yeah, so that's time travel, man. I would definitely go back far.
Yeah. I like that. 1920s, dude. That's a good era. That's a good era for sure.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, I was
sure.
thinking that or, like, 1967. The only other times I'd
Yeah,
love to
that's a
go back.
detailed year. Like,
The detailed year because that was the summer of love, and that was a
okay.
big Monterey Pop Festival, huge, huge festival, that, you know, lives in history as, like, one of the greatest ever, you know, maybe next to Woodstock.
Yeah.
No real desire to go back in time to Woodstock though. Um, would have loved to go to like the Monterey Pop Festival and just check that out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it was 2007. I bought like this Rolling Stones magazine, that was like the 40-year anniversary of the Monterey. So I read all about it,
Yeah.
man. And I was like
So
geeking
you're
out about it. I was like, dude, this like I wish I was there. Like this sounds amazing. Like watching Jimi Hendrix light his guitar on fire. Like, like let's go check that out for sure.
yeah.
You know,
And that's
like
actually a
let's see
good
what
year
kind of
now I think
acid he
about.
was on. You know?
Yeah, I forgot about the whole Summer of Love thing. So
Yeah, yeah, that would have been a good one for
uh,
sure.
all right, I got a
Um,
quick one and then
let's
I
do
think we
it.
can wrap it up. What is your most hated chore and why?
Um, I don't know. I hate all my chores, but I
I
gotta do
know.
them anyway. Uh, I mean, I probably hate cleaning the bathrooms the most, just because 'cause they're disgusting, and when you grow up I mean, I'm sure you know, when you grow up
Yeah.
with 2 boys, it's like they can't hit the toilet, like,
Oh
to save their
God, dude.
lives,
That's
so it's
funny.
like
That's funny
so
you
it's like,
say
yeah,
that.
cleaning the bathroom here is I mean, it's like, you know, we've had practice cleaning public bathrooms, it's
Yeah.
like it's almost worse than that,
Yeah.
you know, cleaning a public restroom, you know, they gotta do it, like, every 2 days instead
Yeah.
of once a week.
That one actually, I totally could relate. I can totally relate, but it doesn't bother me too much because then I have like I don't know if it's a phobia. I guess it might be, but I've always had like this. I don't want to say it's a fear, but just always want to make sure like I don't smell bad, right? Like I don't know, it's just something that's always stuck with me. I think it's like I grew up with a couple kids that had you know how like there's those people that they just smell
Yeah,
like shit.
the people that you know that who always have BO when you're around
Yeah.
them.
And I'm just like, so I've always, I think just growing up with a couple people like that, I've always just been like, dude, I don't ever want to be known like as that person.
Yeah, you're a
So
little
for me,
self-conscious
it's like I
about
don't
it.
want to clean a bathroom. It's definitely not something I look forward to. But after it's done, I feel like okay, not I don't feel dirty going in there. Like I feel okay coming out of there.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, it's nice and clean, I don't wanna go pee in there.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
You
and
know?
so for me,
Nobody used it,
every
nobody
time
used
I
it.
clean the bathrooms, I like plan it on like I'm showering after, you know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's like, here's the deal. I'm gonna clean the bathrooms. Let me do my thing, but then I'm showering. I'm taking a nice long hot shower.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, my
my
kids, dude, my 2 boys, I got this little slogan going on now, it's like a tagline almost every time they go to the bathroom, and I'm like, "Alright, make sure every drop makes a splash," you know, and and then it's like
dude, you
then
know
you walk
we
in there and you're like, "Well, only 3 drops made a splash, huh? Jesus Christ,"
yeah.
you know?
Nate's gotten pretty good. We don't have any issues with him really, but Luke has the issue when he's going number two,
Oh,
and
really?
because he's a little kid, so the
Yeah.
the man part isn't fully developed, so it at times can laser straight instead of
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
So there are
It
times where
goes
I'm
in
cleaning pee
between the
off the
seat
wall
and the
across from the
and the
toilet.
porcelain there,
Yeah.
leaks out.
Or even over, and there's been times where I've cleaned pee off the wall opposite of the toilet. So
Yep, been
yeah,
there for sure.
yeah. Um so my least or my most hated chore, I really have a couple, but I think for me, I hate doing the dishes. I just
Yeah.
hate doing dishes. I don't know why. I just don't like it. Um to the point where I will leave dishes, I'll soak dishes and kind of wait to see if someone else will do them before, like I'll get to the halfway through the day point and then I'll be, hopefully by then, usually like my mother in law or my wife will do them, but sometimes they'll sit and then I'm like, God damn it. All right.
Yeah.
I think now, right now, it's like really bad now because we don't have a dishwasher right now. So it's like everything has to be hand washed. But even when
Same.
you have a dishwasher, like you still have to clean like a bunch of shit off and then
You
like
still gotta wipe it off before you put
pots
it in
and
there.
pans,
So you're cleaning it like 50% before you put it in the dishwasher
Yeah.
anyway, so it's not
Yeah.
saving you
So
a ton of time.
I can't stand doing the dishes for some reason.
I mean, trust me, dude, dishes are not fun. I don't enjoy it either, but, I've learned over the years that I've tried to do that little thing that you do where let me see if somebody else does it, but no one else is gonna fucking do it in my house.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
just feel like
I'm
that
the
was
type of person where it's
see,
just like, I'd rather do a few dishes frequently
yeah.
than let it pile up to where I've got this mountain of dishes to do,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
yeah, I don't ever like, let it get that big, but Yeah, I hear you. But see, like that comment you just said, like that's my true answer. Is my most hated chores are the chores that if I don't do them, they don't get done.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of
Pretty
those
much.
chores.
Yeah.
And those are the
Quite.
ones that piss me off the most. Is that like if they're not done, like taking out the trash. If I don't take out the trash, trash ain't getting taken out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I don't clean the cat litter boxes ain't getting cleaned.
Well, they're your cats.
No. No. So
No,
that is my true answer.
but
All
no,
chores
like,
that
yeah, like
they don't,
so
if I
I'm
don't
the
do
like
them.
I tried to explain this to my wife, like she's like, well, you just can't let the dishes go. You gotta do them all the time. I'm like, well, if I sit here and I look at 3 things in the sink and I decide to wash them, and that takes me like less than 2 minutes, it doesn't seem like it was too daunting of a task. But if I pile this on and then I walk back an hour later and pile a few more things on, and then you do the same, and then he does the same, eventually I'm going to come here and this is going to take me a half an hour.
Yeah.
I don't want it to take me a half an hour. So I'm from the camp of, if I'm the one that has to do dishes, anytime I see dishes in the sink, I'm washing that shit just to make sure that we don't have a backlog of dishes piling up that I got to do at some point,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
'Cause
And
I'm
then you
gonna be
get
the
to
one
that
that gets stuck with them.
scenario where you need a dish and it's dirty. So then you got to go wash it, but then it's like you just wash that one dish. Like, no, you're going to wash them all. And then dinner's 30 minutes late, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or it's the worst. It's like you want to cook dinner and then your sink is full of dishes. You're like, well, I can't possibly prep dinner now. I have to clean all the dishes first before we can get dinner going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For sure.
So we just lost ourselves a half an hour, you know?
Yep.
Sucks.
That's my goal in life, I think, is to get to the point where I can afford a maid. It's my lifelong dream.
Yeah, or just get that dishwasher back online.
Yeah. I mean, I can wait until my kids are old enough, but I mean,
I don't think you guys need a maid. I think you need a butler for that butler's pantry.
Yeah, man.
That's what you need.
What I need to do is demo the butler pantry, turn it into a hallway, and stop having that argument.
You change it to a maid's hutch if you get a maid.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I just gotta wait till the kids are old enough to do all these chores, but it's no different because then you just have to constantly yell at the kids to do the chores, and I know that from my own experience because I used to be the one to take the trash out every Thursday night, 10 o'clock at night. My grandfather was screaming at me, "You need to still take out that trash," and that's what it's gonna be the same.
I don't like at this point. I don't really feel like I can lean on my kids to do anything.
No.
Like even my 8-year-old, like I was doing chores at that time. It's like,
yeah,
I feel like we've created the environment where it's just like you're exempt from it. And
yeah,
now
dude.
if I'm gonna start asking you to do it now, you're gonna look at me like, huh?
Dude,
what the hell?
I had me and Jen had like a oh my god moment last night because we were having to do some catch up work on the lawsuit stuff for the house, and I was just like, I looked at Nate and I was like, I need your help tonight. I need you when you're done. You know, clean up after yourself. It's shower night. We're gonna have to do showers and stuff, right? And it's like, it's hella quiet. We're in the back here and we're doing some paperwork. And Nate comes in. And I'm like, you ready to shower? He's like, I'm done. And I'm looking at him. It's like, dude, his hair's wet and stuff. The dude went and showered on his own, which he can do it. But usually I'm like, I have to be up there to like stop him from messing with the water and stuff. This dude straight went upstairs, showered, got in his jammies, came downstairs and told us. And me and Jen just looked at each other like, wait, is it finally here? Is it finally here? But then tonight was a disaster, but I don't know. We got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's, you know, the usual. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching episode 15. It's been a journey.
It's in the books. It's a wrap.
All right. We'll see you in the next week. Next week, we'll see you in the next one, which is next week. All right. Peace.